G'day guys, welcome to today's tutorial. Bit of a different spin. We are going to be talking about how to warm up for your pool days. Fantastic, or better yet, it is a necessity in order to make sure that you are performing at the highest level, whether that be deadlifts, big heavy barbell rows, T-bar rows, you name it, this is what you want to do. Okay, so let's talk about firstly why we would want to warm up. Well, what we know is that cold, we are a less superior athlete than when we are warm. That is pretty obvious, right? Everyone knows that once I get going and get that blood moving. But here is potentially why, or you might not know exactly why that is. You know that it's a case, but what happens is what there is a thing called is the force velocity curve. Now the force velocity curve, if you picture a graph, okay, so a graph goes like this and our force velocity curve goes like that, and what it represents is that at very minimal weight, okay, we can move that weight quite fast for quite a lot of reps, right? Speed, and then as the weight increases, okay, that speed diminishes and it becomes quite a slow movement. So for example, if you're doing a big heavy deadlift, all right, if it's no weight, you can pop right up, okay, and then if you are moving into, say, those big heavy 1RMs, you might find it's a bit slower off the ground and you grind your way up, you stand tall like that, okay? So what warm-ups do is that it actually moves that or shifts that force velocity curve down, which means that we can move larger amounts of weight at a greater speed, and that is pivotal for us when it comes to those 1 to 2 to 3, even sets of 8 to 10 on the deadlift or those big heavy lifts that you're trying to achieve, because of the fact that, well, if I can move more load at a faster rate, then before I start to burn out and fail, I'm probably going to be moving larger volumes. Larger volumes could result in greater hypertrophy and so on and so forth. There's a lot more factors to it, but it's a very quick rundown as to why warm-ups are pivotal and important. Not only what warm-ups do with that is that it primes our central nervous system to say, hey, you know what? I've gone from sitting down or whatever it is that you're doing, okay? I've warmed up, or I'm telling you that, hey, we're about to move some big loads, and then moving from that process to the big loads, it's just getting your central nervous system to get fired up, ready to go, so you are able to perform at your utmost best. Okay, so today we're talking about our posterior chain or our back. So what is it that we can do when it comes to loading up our back, or what do we need to make sure that we are taken care of? Well, majority of back exercise involve our hips, so we're actually going to dive into our hips today in order to get them all activated and ready to go. On top of that, we are going to be using a band, okay? Why would we be using a band? Because if you think about it, most of the work that we're going to be doing is retraction exercises. So we can mimic that retraction exercises with the band. Our purpose or our target at the very start of all of our warm-ups is that we are aiming to activate those minor muscles, get them firing first, and then we go ahead and we start mimicking what we're about to do. So whether that be, say, a big heavy deadlift, whether that be, say, a big heavy barbell row, whatever the case may be, even a chin-up, okay? We go and mimic those loading patterns in order to prime ourselves, have ourselves ready, go and do it. Now, the best way to warm up for any exercise is the exercise itself. So that's why warm-up sets are fantastic. But prior to the warm-up sets, we want to make sure that all our minor muscles and even those major muscles have a little bit of blood flow there first, so that we're feeling like, okay, we've got a bit of grease through the rusted joints, and then once we're sort of moving really well and we start adding load, that's where the beginning warm-up sets is. But let's talk about firstly what we're going to do when it comes to warming up our back. Well, we're all about good shoulder health, because anything to do with our upper body requires our shoulder blades, so we've got to put our shoulders in. We don't want them lagging. So the first point of call is what we're going to do is we're going to pull our shoulder, our arm back like so, and we're going to lock it up. From this position here, okay, I'm going to pretend that I have a block underneath my arm, and I'm going to be rotating off that block and coming back down. Now the finish point for this is behind my ear. A lot of people you see, they just sort of in and out like so, and there's really no control, and they're probably not activating nor recruiting the right muscles in order to create some shoulder stability, which if we can create some stability, we're going to be able to generate a bigger, better row. So from here, shoulder blade pin back. From this position here, rotate back, pinky behind the ear, come forward, okay? And we're going to be doing this rotation motion just like that. We can use a dumbbell if you have access to dumbbells, or you can use a band. I strongly suggest using a band. From this position, again, shoulder blade pin back and down. We have a block underneath my elbow. I'm gonna pull back behind my head, down, like so. And we're just rotating back. Okay, that's number one. Number two, this is one that frustrates me annoying because people do it horribly wrong and they defy the laws of physics, and that is gravity works in a vertical plane like so. As a really poor example, let's go again. Okay, like so. It does not work in a horizontal fashion like that, right? Cool. Now that we have that understanding, this is why you don't use dumbbells for this exercise, is that a lot of people will hold a dumbbell here and they'll come in and out. That's fantastic for your biceps, but the shoulder complex muscles or the rotator cuff muscles that we're trying to target at the back here, okay, plus your rhomboids and your rear delts, they're not going to get a great deal of work out of them because of the fact that, well, hey, you know what, gravity don't work in a horizontal plane like this and create resistance on that there if you're using a dumbbell, okay? If you're using a cable where the weight works on in the vertical axis like that, and you're pulling out with the cable, fine, fantastic. That's where the resistance is. Same with a resistance band. If your anchor point is over here and you are rotating out like so, okay, the elasticity of the band is going to want to pull back to the anchor point. Fantastic, you have horizontal resistance. Okay, that being said, how do we shore this up? Well, another issue that you see with this is that people sort of just wave it in and out and do all sorts of weird things with their elbow. We want to create stability. Just with every exercise, stability, stability, stability. So we're going to pull our shoulder blade back and down. We're going to lock up this lat. And we're going to use that lat as a pivot point, and we're going to be coming out and in like so. So let's go again. Whoop. So we're going to create a little bit of tension at the start. We're going to pull that shoulder blade back and down and use our elbow into our lat as a pivot point. From here, we're coming right out and back in. Right out, back in. And you'll feel these minor muscles bunch up. Don't do it fast. Control your negative. 3 second out, 3 second in. It's very rare they'll be like count, but this one you can count with, all right? So shoulder blade back and down, 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And just keep that tension on. Nothing fancy, nothing big just yet. Remember, all we're trying to target are these minor muscles. Okay. What we're going to do from this particular point is we're actually going to take the band out and we're going to start moving into our rear delts and our retraction exercises. So from here, we're going to grab a hold. Depending on how loose your band is, you can come in right in tight like I have, or you can go a lot looser. But what we are looking to do is pull our shoulder blades back and down and pull the band apart. Okay, and we are going to move in this fashion. Now this is pretty easy, so I could probably go one more loop. Okay, obviously the more you loop it, the tighter it gets, the harder it gets. Remember, we are just trying to pump some blood through. We're not trying to move large amounts of loads. That's to come. This is just the warm up. So again, shoulder blades back and down, feel those muscles retract, pause, hold that retraction. Okay, get that mind to muscle connection, right? Make sure that we're getting our shoulder blades right back together, pause, and really dive into those rhomboids, rear delts, and all that retraction process. Okay, so that's the start of our retraction process. Then we're going to mimic a row. Okay, so grab a hold of the band again, and you can do a neutral grip with this if you really want to. Okay, remember, control your negative, squeeze hard, control, squeeze hard. Okay. And then also you can do supinated or pronated, whichever more rows you're going to do for the day. So if you're moving through a lot of supinated planes, then by all means do that. If you're going to do large amounts of rows in a neutral grip, neutral, and obviously pronated. Okay. Say we're going to do some deads, all right? So how do I warm up my deads, warm up for my deads? Well, we want to get these lats really firing. So what we're going to do with this band is we're actually going to bring it up high, and it's probably going to slide on me, yep, okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to be pulling back and down just like a cable will pull through, but we're looking to take this hand past as far back as we possibly can, okay? So shoulder blades back and down, pull all the way through, push through, pause and hold. Again, pause, hold. Just like we're skiing down a mountain, okay? Pull right back and squeeze those lats right on. We really want to start to activate those lats. Okay, so for each one of those warm-ups, I would suggest you go and do, say, 15 by about 3 rounds, 4 rounds. Remember, it's not there to move large amounts of load. It's just there to activate, get some blood through, and take you from seated to starting to get ready for those warm-up sets. Now, I referred earlier to the glutes. What you can do with the glutes in order to warm up this whole entire posterior chain are exercises such as glute hip raises, so you can do them off the ground. Remember, push through, squeeze your glutes. You can do the abductor machine, okay, start light, get some blood through, pull it apart, or if you would like to, get yourself a seat, tie this around like that, and what you're going to do, sit down and pull your knees apart like that. Or if you've got a booty band, you can do that as well. Or a really, really popular exercise, which also dives deep into your hamstrings, is using the GHD. Fantastic way to get some blood through to that posterior chain. If you're going to do yourself some big, heavy deads, I strongly suggest that you dive into the glutes and really start to warm them up and get them going. We go into a far greater depth with the glute warm-up in the leg day exercise because we really want to stabilize these hips. So if you haven't looked at the leg day warm-ups, go ahead and go across there and watch them after this particular episode or video or film, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so hip thrusts, okay, nothing too heavy, just to get some blood through. Glute bands, by all means, in and out. Fantastic way to get the glutes going. And also GHD, up and pause. If you are doing deadlifts, what I would suggest you do, obviously the exercise itself is king for warm-up, but you can also mimic that exercise pattern. So if you wanted to jump on a leg press just to get that pressing motion through the ground, fantastic way to start to warm up. But this is now, we're moving into the specificity. Woo, that's still not right, but anyway, we're diving directly into the exercise or the movement pattern that we are going to perform. So after we've done and we've warmed up these minor muscles, we've got some blood through by doing our retraction processes and activating our lats by pulling down, we now move into the exercise itself. Now you might be doing a barbell row, you might be doing a T-bar row, a deadlift, whatever the case may be. What it is I want you to keep in mind, you're going to do 3 warm-up sets, okay? The way this works is, and you're going to use an empty bar or very, very much near an empty bar. The first set is going to be getting your processes right. So for example, if I'm doing a deadlift, I'm going to be thinking about screwing my feet in, my knees go out, hips go on, shoulder blades back and down, and I'm just going to be thinking about driving through my legs and getting that pattern happening, okay? It's a skill, just like kicking a football. You're not going to go and kick 50, 100 meters straight away, or 100 meters, big kick. You're going to, sit there 10 meters and just get your patterns happening. Exactly the same thing that you would do with the deadlift. You just get your pattern happening, okay? Make sure you're ticking all those markers and it's executing the way it should be. If it's not, then you ask the question, why? Okay, what am I missing? No risk of injury, or very minimal risk of injury at that particular point in time. And if you do get injured, it's probably going to be a lot less and a lot more minor, poor choice of words, than if you're diving straight into big heavy loads, because of the fact that the tear isn't going to be as big, you might recover a bit quicker, and you may not make that mistake again. Okay. That's set one. Set two is now about speed. So again, this is the force velocity curve all over again. Got some heat in there. Now we want to move that weight quick, okay? Because in the tail end, if I can break the floor really fast on, say, a deadlift, for example, okay? If I drive force and really drive fast and hard, okay? This bar might be going from the starting point is here. You know, if I drive hard and fast, might end up there rather than, say, here, and that there might be enough to get it up and get it moving and get it happening. Okay, so speed. Speed is number two, all right? So first one, tick the boxes. Second one, speed. And now our third one is about putting it all together. Make sure that, and a little bit of load. So add a little bit more load to the third warm-up set. Okay, we're going to screw in. Everything's going to be primed, ready, and driving up, okay? Or rowing, or whatever the case may be. And then from that particular point on, if you're ready, you can go to max load, or if you need to do a few more warm-up sets just to climb your way up, by all means do so. Lastly, the reason why we want to do all those things is exactly what I just said. It's to prime our central nervous system. It's to take us from potentially being sedentary or doing very little. These minor movements is to get that blood happening, get that protection happening for those minor muscles and also our major muscles, and then moving us and transitioning us into, okay, let's prime ourselves, let's get ourselves ready for that big heavy load. And then the last step is all action stations, go, go, go. Team, that there is how you want to go about warming yourself up for your pull day or your back day. Yeah, make sure you execute those things and you will find that your performance should skyrocket. All right, team, enjoy.